Hey, welcome to the channel, YouTube. The purpose of this video is we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about how to amass money. And this video is really geared towards the young people. Now, when I say young, what am I talking about? I'm talking about people between like 16 to like 30, maybe even 35. And so you might say, well, for those that's older than that, you might say, well, what why are you talking about money and it's only for people between 16 and 30? And that's because um, they're still impressionable. They're still willing to listen. As you get older, one of the things I've learned is you're less likely to listen. You're less likely to listen to somebody who's giving you sound advice and actually want to take that advice. Now, doesn't mean that all young people are going to do that. It doesn't. It just means that sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? So while this video is for anybody who will pay attention, anybody who will listen, the main target audience is really my 16 to 30, 35-year-olds, right? All right. So I got my little setup here. I got my notes, the whole nine, and I'm gonna use this because, to be honest with you, I got some things that I want to make sure that I don't forget. I got some things I want to make sure that I hit on, that I touch on, that's going to benefit you. If you're willing. Now, listen, I'm not going to get down into the specifics. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't even have a finance degree. My degree is not in finance, okay? My degree is in business. And while my degree is in business, I'm not here to talk to you about business. I'm just here to talk to you about general things that I wish we'd have been taught when we were younger, that now you can learn right now. Some things that you can just pick up and do. So again, this message is just for the people who will listen, but main target audience is going to be your 16 to 30 to 35-year-olds. Okay. Now let's get it going. Your 65-year-old self is waiting and watching. As they say, if the good Lord, bless you with air in your lungs, you're going to get there. And when you get there, your 65-year-old self is going to ask you one of two questions. First question they might ask is, what you been doing? Now imagine you're 20 years old and you got 45 years to get it right. 45 years to get it right. You get to 65 years old and you don't have anything. You don't have any money amassed. You don't have any wealth, nothing, because you spent all your money. Okay. That's one thing. What have you been doing? The other thing, and it's not a question, but the other thing is, he might say is a thank you. Thank you for doing the little things over 45 years so that when you got to this age that you have something. And I'm gonna tell you something. And I want you to think about this, because listen, if you're 20 years old, you're in that 20 to 30 year, sometimes it's hard to even imagine yourself being 65. Okay. It's a ways off. So it's not in the front of your mind. It might be in the back of your mind, but it's not in the front of your mind. So worrying about your 65-year-old self may not be something that you're going to look at and say, man, I need to worry about my 65-year-old self. Okay. So don't worry. Well, I'm going to tell you a few things now that'll get you kind of on the track. Okay. So there's a book out there by a man named Robert Kiyosaki. Now, I'm not here to promote his book at all. But what I am saying is I read the two books I'm about to talk to you about. And those books kind of helped me understand money. The first book that he wrote, it was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you go on Amazon, the book might cost you $9, okay? I think it's worth it. I think it's worth a read. If you don't have it, you can go out there and get a copy of it. But the other book is called Cash Flow Quadrant. And this was the book that I read that really got me to understand how money is made, right? There are 4 quadrants in which way we make money. We make money out of, as a business owner, that's the first quadrant. Self-employed, that's a second quadrant. An investor, it's a third quadrant. And then an employee, that's the fourth quadrant. These are 4 ways that you make money, okay? Now, I would highly advise that you participate in 2 of those cash flow quadrants. So if you are an employee, you can still invest. If you are self-employed, you can still invest. If you are a business owner, and most of them do, but most business owners, they invest their money. That's how they become, mega millionaires and mega billionaires, because they're constantly investing their money and making returns on their money. Now, when you participate in those two, what you're doing is you're speeding up the amount of the ways in which you can get to wealth faster. Okay. I don't know anyone who has a savings account that can tell me that they worked 30 years or even 40 years and they're now a millionaire from a savings account. The national average right now of a savings account is less than 1%. Okay. Less than 1%. And no, I'm not talking about, money market savings accounts in which they get, 3 to 4%. And I'm sure there's some other accounts out there that you can get that'll give you more than 1%. But the point is that the national average is less than 1%. So that means if you have your money in the bank is taking your money. Let me tell you what the bank is doing. They're taking your money. They invested in things that's giving them 12 to 15% interest return. And you know what they're going to give you? They're going to give you that 1% or that less than 1%, because that's what you signed up for. You signed your name and said, hey, I want this savings account. And you knew that savings account is going to give you less than 1%. And they'll oblige. They'll give you less than 1%. But they're going to take the other, 11% if they're getting 12. Okay. So cut the middleman out. Cut the middleman out. You go straight to the market and you invest in the market. You get the 12 to 15% interest. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you doing that yourself. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Okay. Now, I'm really just suggesting that you participate in, again, 2 of the cash flow quadrants, because that's how you're going to speed up, like you getting that money and as fast as you can possibly get it. Okay. Don't make any excuses. Listen, there's a lot of people that when they get to the age of 50 or 60, you know what they say? I wish I knew then what I know now. Well, I hate to tell you this, the excuses are off the table, because now you have access to the information that maybe they might not have had access to. Keep in mind, people that's in their 50s and their 60s, when they were 18, 19, 20 years old, the internet wasn't booming the way it's booming now. Information wasn't flowing the way that it flows right now. So there's just no excuse for you not to be able to, go on Google and ask questions, chat GPT or whatever the name of that thing is, and get sound quality information that can help you get started and help you get going. Okay. I never want you thinking that I'm saying don't have fun with your life. Okay. Sure. Have your fun. You do need a checking account, because you need liquid. You need to be able to get to money fast. If you have your money caught up in the market, you won't be able to get to it as fast as you would if you had your money sitting in a bank. So there's nothing wrong with having a checking account. But what I would earnestly tell people is, if you're going to have a savings account, don't let that be the money. Don't let that be the account where you're depending on that to grow, because it's not going to grow fast. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with having, a couple $1,000s in a savings account, but you want to have your tens of thousands of dollars in the market, cutting out the middleman. Okay. Your engine breaks down or something like that, you got money. You want to go on a vacation, you got money. The last thing you want to do is set up an account, and then, you call yourself having a savings account, but you're only saving to invest. You're only saving to go on vacation, or you're saving just in case something happened. That's not the purpose. A savings is so that when you get older, you have money sitting right there waiting for you. So a lot of people, they don't understand that. And so what happens is they come up with reasons why they have to spend that money. Where's mine? Yeah, it's yours. But your 65-year-old self is waiting and watching. And so the things that you're going to have to do, you're going to have to get to a place where you say, under no circumstances am I touching this. Now, a quick quick little story. When I was 20 years old, someone pulled me to the side and he asked me, he said, "What are you doing with your money?" And I didn't understand the question. So I said, taking care of business, taking care of, taking care. No, okay, after you pay your bills and get groceries, what are you doing with what's left? And I was like, nothing really. He said, okay. And then he took me under his wing and he showed me how to invest. He showed me what I should be doing with my money so that my money grows. Because you see, if I don't know anything, this is what I know. Most people in our community, when they pass away, they don't leave anything. We don't pass wealth. We don't transfer wealth from generation to generation. We pass bills. We pass debt. Okay? So when he told me that, and I put those principles into practice, it benefited me. That's why I'm on here doing this video, because I would like for people, young people, to get that early start. Because see, like again, if you're blessed with air in your lungs, 30 years is going to get here. 30 years is going to get here. And when it gets here, you can either have no money or you can be almost a millionaire. 30 years if you're doing the right things, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to try to throw big numbers out there, but I just want to say that the possibilities are there, okay? When I was 18 years old, I would have never thought that I had what I have when I was 18, when I got to the age that I am now, because I didn't think that it was possible. I didn't know anybody that had, money like that. I just didn't know anybody. So why would I think that I can have it when I don't even know anybody in my surroundings, in my circles, in my community that has it? I wouldn't think it, and so I didn't think it. This is the part where a lot of people say, man, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. This is my money, right? And I'm gonna have my fun. You only live once and all that good stuff. Okay, I get it. You do. You only live once. You only live once. And let me ask you a question. You ever see like an elderly person pushing a cart and everything that's in that cart is all their earthly possessions? Or they riding a bicycle and everything that's in the cart, that's on the handlebars or in the back of the bike is all their earthly possessions. Well, that could possibly be you. That could possibly be you. I'm not wishing that on anybody. And again, I don't know everybody's circumstances. Some of it is mental health and all that, and I'm not gonna go down that road. But do you want to be in that position? Or do you want to put yourself in a position right now so that, let's say something happens to you and you get in your 40s and something happened and you're in your 20s. Here you are, you've been putting in work for 20 years. So even if you can't work anymore, you got 20 years worth of money stacked that's earning 12 to 15% interest. Come on now. We got to be smarter than this. We got to be smart. Okay? So so what am I asking you all? I'm saying that take the middleman out. There's investing that you can do on your own, okay? You have apps out there now. And I'm not promoting any of them. I'm just throwing out some that I know for a fact because I've used a couple of them. You got Cash App. You can invest, you can do stocks right there on Cash App. Charles Schwab, they have an app. Robinhood has an app. You got Moomoo. All these apps that you can go and get connected to your bank account and just put money into your account and then buy stock. Okay? So you're probably saying, well, what stock should I buy? What should I do? Listen, I'm not here to promote any particular stock, but what I will say is this: you want to get stocks that pay dividends. Okay? You want stocks that pay dividends. And then you want a few that are just growth stocks. They may not pay a dividend, but they're growing and they're constantly going up and up and up, okay? I don't know if you ever heard this, but they said if you bought one share, just one share of Coca-Cola when they first went public back in the early 1900s, one share, you'd be a millionaire today based on the amount of times that the stock is split, the dividends that they paid. Because see, when you get a dividend is just them saying, hey, thank you for investing in us, and I'm going to give you some money for every share that you own. So if you own 100 shares and they're giving, 10 cent a quarter per share, okay, you do the math. That's what you're going to get every quarter, and it's 4 quarters in a year. Okay. Now, over time, that money comes in and you end up buying because you reinvest your dividends. You never take your money out. You reinvest your dividends. And before you know it, it becomes a snowball. And that snowball, when you roll that snowball down the hill, at the top, it's small. By the time it gets to the bottom, it's a big ball. And that's your money. It starts small at first. When I first started, I was like, what am I doing? This is nothing. But I'm glad that I just said, you know what? Let's just see. Let's just see. And that's what I did. I kept going. And so now that the snowball is a little bigger, I'm happy. Now, here's the deal. This is some mindset stuff. We got to stop worrying about what the rich people are doing. The rich people have already put the work in to be rich, to afford the things that they have. Okay? There's no billionaire that goes and buy a Gucci belt that goes broke for paying $400 for that belt. Okay? There's no millionaire that goes and buys, a pair of, the newest Nikes that's out or whatever sneaker that's out that goes broke or has to, put it on a credit card. They can go and just pay cash and they're done. They don't even have to think about it. If you're not in that boat, it's okay. Get in the boat. But you get in the boat early. And so that when you want to start spending that money, it's there and it doesn't affect you. It doesn't impact you. Okay? Stop thinking that you have to have a Bentley and a Rolls Royce and all these fancy cars. Do you know the majority of your billionaires and your millionaires, they drive regular Toyotas and Chevrolets. They're not out here flossing. For what? Do you know that the cars that I own will get me to the same place that a Rolls Royce will get those owners? If I'm going from Washington D.C. to New York City in a Bentley, in a Washington D.C. to New York City in a Ford, we'll both get there if the cars are in shape. We'll both get there. The only difference is you don't paid, $200,000 or $300,000, $400,000 for your car, and I paid $40,000 for mine, if that. But we worry about trying to impress people who don't even care about what we have. In most cases, they're jealous. Okay. Now, I started off with $50 a month. $50. I got paid. I was in the military. I get paid twice a month. I started off $25 a payday, and then I got to a place where I could go to $75 a month. Then I got to a place where I could go to $100 a month, and then as you get promoted, as you move up, as your income increases, you can start to increase your investments, which I highly suggest that you do. Highly suggest that when you get promotions, when you get pay raises, don't go and you're already living decently. Why do you need to show people that you got more money now? Just take that money and make that money make money for you. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna keep you too long, but here's another thing that gentleman told me back in the early 1990s. He told me, he said, treat every dollar that you invest like an employee and never fire your employees. Your employees, a business owner hires people to help him make money. Those are your investment dollars. Those dollars are in there to make you money. Never take the money out. Okay? There are people who they live off of the dividends that their money makes. They've stacked the money. Now every year they're getting $175,000 just in dividend money. So guess what's gonna happen next year? They're gonna get another $175,000. Guess what's gonna happen the year after that? They're gonna get another $175,000. But the main money that's making that money for them still sits right there. They never touch it. They never take that out. So what I'm saying is you'll get to a point where you can start to spend the money, but you need to get there first. And you get there through discipline. Okay. So to all my young people, all right, I'm gonna get out of here with this. Think about your future. Think about what it is that you want for the future. Okay, you may not have any kids right now, but maybe you want a family one day. Do you want your family to have anything? Do you want to have to live the way that maybe you grew up? Because I can tell you right now, I was born into a trailer. When I was born, my family, we lived in a trailer. And then we moved, seven people, a 7-person family. We moved into a 3-bedroom apartment after that. From a 3-bedroom trailer to a 3-bedroom apartment. Okay, me and my 3 brothers, we slept in one room. My sister, since she was a girl, had her own room, and my mom and dad had their own room. Okay. Then we moved from that 3-bedroom to another 3-bedroom. But I started to see the progression. And because I saw progression, light bulbs started to click. And I started realizing that maybe you don't have to stay in certain conditions. A lot of it's mindset, and it's the people that you hang around. It's the things that you're doing with your money. If you're turning up every weekend, maybe you should, buy you something for the house and just, hang out at the house and drink a little something. I'm not telling you to drink. I'm not endorsing that at all. What I'm saying is, instead of being out in the streets, do certain things at home, whatever. But don't take all your money and give it right back to the same people who just paid you. Because here's another thing that a lot of people don't know, that the wealth gap increases between Friday and Monday. Why? Most people get paid on Fridays. They take their paycheck, they go give it right back to the people who paid them. So now those people are richer. They're richer because you just gave them the money right back. So the wealth gap, it just keeps getting wider and wider and wider and wider. I don't blame rich people. I don't blame a billionaire for being a billionaire if you put the work in. I don't blame a millionaire for being a millionaire if you put the work in. It's not their fault. They did the work, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, Henry Ford was quoted as saying this. I'm not even sure if he's the actual person who actually said it for the first time, but he said, "Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you are right." So it's mindset. It's mindset. You have to ask yourself, do you think that you can put $50 a month away, or maybe $100 a month, $50 a payday? If you can, start. I don't know one person that won a race that they never started. Not one. And if you do, let me know, because that's a miracle. I've never seen anybody who won a race and they never even started the race. You got to start to be the winner. I want all of us to win. And the only way we're going to win is if we change. It has to be a paradigm shift in the way that we see money and the way that we participate with money, the way that we interact with money. Okay, we got to stop looking at money as just something that you have to buy something, as opposed to something that you have that changes the projection of your entire family, the trajectory of your entire family. Okay, if this video gave you any value, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me. Okay, hit that thumbs up for me, and consider subscribing to the channel. So listen, until we meet again, continue to think and grow. And we'll see you on the next video. Peace.